This is 10 News First Perth.
This year, race radio changes to VHF 74 and the Department of Transport requires all paddlers to wear life jackets. Welcome to this special edition of 10 News First. I'm Narelda Jacobs. Whether it's your first time or your 30th, we've compiled all the vital information to ensure you have a safe and successful crossing to Wodgumup. The South 32 Rottnest Channel Swim is a fun day out, but it also poses serious risks. The association works hard to mitigate these, but it's up to you to be well prepared and informed so you can make safe and sensible decisions. Thorough preparation means you and your crew can relax and have an incredible day out on the water. By now, all swimmers should be well conditioned for distance swimming and be prepared for race day. Part of the preparation should be to practice race day situations so you're not surprised on event day if something doesn't work.
To practice for event day, what I do is make sure that in training I'm taking the same nutrition that I'm going to take on the day. I make sure I practice with my paddler. The important points are that we need to make sure we've got our communication right, and we want to talk about which side I'm going to be swimming on. And ideally we want to swim on the windward side of the paddle.
As a swimmer, I'm sure you've been following a training program, but make sure you don't forget to train in the ocean. It's an ocean water event and practicing in the open water is very important. Train with your team, get to know your team, get to know their strengths and weaknesses. But don't forget about your support crew, your skipper and your boat crew. Make sure you prepare with them, get together with them and have well thought out plans. Part of that planning is your swimmer retrievals. Make sure you practice that or at least go through and discuss how that should be done on race day.
If you're a skipper, make sure you and your boat complies with the Department of Transport's marine safety regulations. The boat must be licensed to carry all passengers, including those in the water. All support boats must carry required minimum safety equipment, including a working VHF radio, flares and life jackets to accommodate all swimmers, paddlers and support crew. Leaving for the start line will likely be before sunrise, and all vessels must ensure they display the correct navigational lighting between sunset and sunrise. A new requirement for 2021 is that all paddlers will be required to wear a life jacket for the entirety of the swim. This means your paddler will need to have their life jacket when they're dropped at Cottesloe Beach.
The Department of Transport and the Rottnest Channel Swim Association take safety very seriously. Equipment spot checks will be undertaken on event morning. During the 2019 and 20 events, marine officers turned back a number of boats for failing to have adequate or current safety equipment. So make sure you check those flares.
So we prepare for the event. We generally get together as a group prior to the swim a month or two before. We discuss who's going to be on the boat that day, who's part of the team. We'll also throw out some discussions about which side we might be picking up on the pickup zone on the way through. Personally, from a skipper, I like to have my boat serviced a good month prior to the event, making sure that my batteries are checked, the engine's serviced. I run through all the safety gear and make sure that all my licences are correct and up to date.
The yearbook is an essential resource for not only swimmers but also skippers and support crew. Ensure every member of your team has read the yearbook and understands your plan for race day. It's also a good idea to have a pre-event meeting with your team a few weeks prior to ensure everyone is on the same page.
To find the swimmer on the start line, it can be a bit overwhelming when you first arrive to that location. So I think preparation and having a discussion with your team prior to that on which side, whether it be north or south, you're doing a pickup. You want to get in nice and quick and grab your paddler. I always tend to have someone on the boat become my spotter, looking for the paddler, and we have an identified flag on the paddler because I've got a lot of boats that I'm jostling around with, and it's good to have someone that's going to help me out spot that. Once I find the paddler, we'll swing in, grab them and get off the courses pretty quickly. Your
swimsuits will be checked and they must comply with event rules. If yours doesn't comply or you're wearing multiple suits illegally, you can still swim. However, the swim won't be recognised by the association. Further to this, no swimmer is permitted to wear a watch during the event for pacing or otherwise. If you have any medical conditions, check in with your GP to make sure your condition is stable and you are fit to swim. If you take medication, make sure you have this with you on event day. Let your team know what assistance may be required in the event you become symptomatic.
The way I prepare the night before event day is I make sure that all my bags are packed, all my stuff is already with the skipper because I'm not going to see them until the next morning. I've had multiple meetings with my team leading up to the event day. So the evening before, everybody receives a confirmation message from me just to reiterate everything we've talked about, and I wait until I get a confirmation back from them to know that they've received it. I make sure that I have seasickness tablets. I make sure that I have spare goggles with me. I also make sure that there's always going to be enough sunscreen and water on the boat for everyone. What's really important is actually to download the swimmer checklist, because it's a great checklist to work through to make sure you've got everything so you're ready to go. Set your alarm. I normally set 2 alarms, and I make sure that I'm done and dusted by about 8 o'clock so I can go to bed nice and early and relax.
And now to event day. Whether you're a swimmer, skipper, paddler or support crew, it's important to know what your role is and have a plan. Skippers, as soon as you're on the water, make sure your marine radio is turned on and switch to the dedicated race channel. This year the race channel has been updated to VHF Channel 74. Be sure to keep the volume up nice and loud on Channel 74 throughout the day.
In 2016, a duo team and their skipper were disqualified because they reported to race officials, who informed Channel Swim Base, that the swimmer was unable to find his support boat. Race officials spent 3 hours trying to contact the boat and look for the swimmers. The team was finally located happily heading to Rottnest. The swimmer and support boat had found each other but failed to inform Channel Swim Base or any race officials, and never responded to any communications after the initial report. When asked why, the skipper explained that he had turned off the radio and turned up the music for the team to enjoy. The incident caused a significant waste of critical resources and was a major breach of the event rules. As a consequence, the whole team was disqualified.
At the start line, support boats are to remain at least 1,000 metres from the shore. There are buoys set on both the north and south side of the channel, which mark the boundary. Support boats can wait anywhere beyond that and cannot proceed towards the swim channel until the boat coordinator calls forward your swimmer's wave. This will happen via the race channel VHF 74. Swimmers should check in with their skipper on the morning of the event to make sure they're ready and getting into place. The starting swimmer needs to arrive at Cottesloe Beach at least 30 minutes before the start of their wave to pick up their timing strap if they've not already done so the day before. Neither swimmers nor paddlers can be delivered to the beach by boat, and it's highly recommended you get a lift, as parking at Cottesloe on event morning can be difficult.
For the morning of the swim, I make sure that I get up nice and early, have my breakfast, I get a lift down to Cottesloe Beach, I meet my paddler there. Ideally, if you can get a lift with your paddler, that's a really good way to go as well. There's loads of volunteers there to help you out. But as soon as I get to the beach, first thing I want to do is go and check in, get my timing chip, put it on my ankles straight away, and then I head over to my paddler who's getting his stuff ready, and we talk about our meet plan again, just to reiterate that. I then put on sunscreen, Vaseline. If you use wool fat, clearly that's the time to do it as well. There's a lot of people around, there's a lot of hustle and bustle going on, but at that point I'll remove myself from that situation and then spend a bit of quiet time thinking about what's coming up, looking out at all the boats and the lights twinkling. I'll then move to the start, acknowledge my paddler. We always try and make eye contact before we start. At that point, it's super exciting, and there's usually a lot of really exciting nerves moving around your body, and then I'm ready to go.
So your 2 alarms have gone off. You're awake, you're ready to go. I head down to Cottesloe Beach, meet my paddler, assist my paddler in getting the paddle to the beach, and then give myself ample time to go and register. It's important that you allow 45 minutes to do all this, because more often than not, you run out of time and things get busy. Speak to your paddler about how you're going to meet at the 500 metre mark. Have a plan and stick to it. Don't change it when you're halfway out there. You've got a plan, and that's what you should do. The nerves have kicked in, but guess what? This is probably the best morning on Cottesloe Beach for the year. So soak up the atmosphere, because this is the Rottnest Channel Swim.
Swimmers will begin to move into the start enclosure 10 minutes before the start of their wave. Paddlers wearing their life jackets may enter from the north or south and should enter the water 5 to 10 minutes before the start of their swimmer's wave. The hooter will sound and swimmers are off. To take you through the all-important meet plan, here's Lockie Reid.
Thanks, Nerelda. One of the most important pre-race discussions to have is what your meet plan will be on race morning. Your meet plan should cover off all the aspects on how the swimmer going off the beach is going to find the paddler and then the boat. Are they waiting for you on the north or south of the channel? Are you spotting them or are they spotting you? What differentiates you from others? What is your ETA? Once you have agreed on a meet plan, make sure you all stick to it come race morning. Remember, swimmers may only meet up with their paddler after the 500 metre yellow buoys, not before. Once the swimmer and paddler are united, the next step is finding the boat. Remember to have that meet plan locked down and stick to it.
It's really important to have a meet plan. I give my paddler an estimated time that I'm going to be at the 500 metre mark, and him and I will not go past that 500 metre buoy until we've met each other. We've then given the boat an estimated time that we're going to be at the 1,000 metre mark. We've got everybody on the boat looking out for the paddler and myself, and my paddler's job is to look out for the boat. And we normally have a fairly distinctive flag on the boat that he's looking for. It's really important that they understand that we'll meet the boat between the 1,000 metre and the 1,500 metre mark, and we will not go past that 1,500 metre mark. If we haven't found each other, the volunteers are great and they can help you link up with your boat if you haven't found them by then.
Boats will be able to enter the channel after the 1,000 metre red buoys, and the swimmers will have from this mark until the 1,500 metre icon vessel, the Lewin Sail training ship, to unite with their boat. All swimmers must be accompanied by a support boat and cannot swim beyond 1,500 metres if unaccompanied. If a reasonable time has passed and you still cannot find your swimmer or support boat, the skipper should notify Channel Swim Base so that race officials can assist in locating them. Swimmers must tread water until their support boat arrives and may wait there for up to 20 minutes. There will be officials at the Lewin helping unite you with your vessel. If you haven't located your support boat by this time, you'll be taken back to Cottesloe and recorded as did not finish. Remember, paddlers enter at the 500 metre mark, boats enter at 1,000. Swimmers, you must locate your boat before the 1,500 metre mark. Once everyone is united, the skipper has the absolute responsibility for everyone on the boat, as well as their swimmer and paddler. The skipper is in charge.
It's essential to have someone nominated on your boat to be your spotter, not only looking out for your own swimmers, but other swimmers that are in the water. As a skipper, it's essential that you've got your eye on other boats that are picking up their paddlers. There's always opportunities for incidents that may arise. So having a spotter on your boat and another set of eyes for you to make decisions is essential. So in addition to that, also the spotter, it's essential to have them monitor the swimmers that are coming on board. It's very important to make sure that we're looking after these guys and looking for signs of hypothermia, looking for signs of disorientation, and being able to make a decision to look after their health and well-being.
Aside from hypothermia, swimming-induced pulmonary edema, or SIP, presents a genuine risk for swimmers. It is a result of swimmers exerting themselves, lungs filling up with fluid and low oxygen levels, causing the body to eventually shut down. It is important your support crew know the signs and what to look for. You'll find this and more information on how to prevent, detect and treat hypothermia in the yearbook, as well as videos on the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim website. Preparation and awareness are critical, but don't be complacent and think it won't happen to you. Understanding the signs could save the life of you or a teammate.
Thanks, Locke. After the support boat has met up with the swimmer and paddler, it's time to make your way to the island. There are two sets of buoys, one to mark the Rum Line, the most direct route to Thompson Bay, and one to mark the northern boundary. If using GPS coordinates to map the route, it's suggested you use the Rum Line coordinates. The northern boundary markers are there simply as that, a boundary. This boundary marks the start of the rescue corridor and the ferry channel. Therefore, you must stay south of these buoys at all times. The rescue corridor is the area designated immediately north of the northern boundary buoys. If assistance is required, radio Channel Swim Base and they may direct you to the rescue corridor to help crews find you.
It's imperative that you follow the Rum Line. I set mine on the GPS on my boat. But the run line that's printed in the skipper's manual, it's provided in the race pack. I know a lot of guys that use that, and that's the quickest line across to the other side. And that's, at the end of the day, you want to get your guys there as quick as you can without exerting too much of their energy.
For all boats within 1 kilometre of the rum line, there is a speed limit of 6 knots, which must be adhered to. The fleet consists of boats big and small, and there are some key event rules for larger support boats greater than 10 metres in length or yachts of any size. These boats are required to stay to the north or south extremities of the fleet, subject to the northern boundary. They must also have a tender to minimise manoeuvring and deliver their swimmers to the rum line. The skipper of this tender must also have their recreational skipper's ticket. Some other on-water protocols you need to be aware of are: if a swimmer or someone on your boat becomes unwell and requires medical attention, for example severe hypothermia, contact Channel Swim Base and await further instructions. If necessary, we can get an on-water ambulance to you within minutes. If you have a swimmer or crew member who's unwell and is assessed as non-urgent, for example they're seasick, it will be the skipper's responsibility to return to land. One of the most asked questions is what happens if there's a shark. If you see a shark, radio Channel Swim Base on VHF Channel 74 and state the details of the sighting, approximate location on the swim course, and if you can, take note of your GPS coordinates. If you are unable to make radio contact, call the phone numbers provided on the skipper protocols. Channel Swim Base will then give further instructions. Channel Swim Base will deploy vessels and helicopters to investigate the sighting and report back to the fleet. If the sighting is of high risk, then skippers of vessels within a specified radius will be ordered to remove their swimmer from the water immediately. If there is a shark attack, the event will be abandoned.
If the race committee believes swimmer safety is at risk due to a shark, we will implement an evacuation of the swimmers from the water. This is not negotiable. Failure to comply will result in disqualification and a ban for you and your crew from future swims. If you're evacuated, re-entry will be facilitated to the west of the evacuation area if it is deemed safe by the race committee. Race officials will lay 2 pink buoys to create a re-entry gate for evacuated swimmers, and this location will be communicated to all swimmers via radio and SMS.
When using the radio on event day, your call sign is your race number. For example, race number 100. Ensure the volume is turned up during the entire event and be careful not to leave your microphone on. VHS 74 is for event use only and should not be used for friendly banter or otherwise, particularly during an emergency situation. Please keep use of the radio to a minimum and only if you require assistance or reporting something. If the radios are misused and the person is caught, strong sanctions will be enforced and the Department of Transport Marine Division alerted. Give way to ships at all times, including ferries. Ships shouldn't be moving through the channel on race day. However, if there are, skippers will be advised of shipping movements during the day via radio. Again, have that radio turned on and volume up. If you need to withdraw from the event for whatever reason, your skipper must inform Channel Swim Base via radio and timing straps must be returned. You can return these to the Fremantle Volunteer Sea Rescue Operations Centre, located at Cantonment Hill, or to the help desk at Rottnest. The spectacle of the day is incredible and it can be tempting to send up your drone to take a photo. Don't. There are multiple event helicopters on race day and drones are banned across the course. Aside from your team being disqualified and facing possible fines, you put the lives of those there to protect you at risk, with the results of a collision being catastrophic. You can check out all of this information and more in the yearbook and skipper protocols. There are some key event rules you need to familiarise yourself with and adhere to. It's required that you reach the red marker buoys by the prescribed cut-off times found in your yearbook. They're set at the 10 kilometre, 15 Ks, 18, 19 and 19.25 kilometre marks.
Tandem solos need to be particularly conscious of the requirement to remain together throughout the entire event. This is a critical safety rule. It is important that in an emergency incident to either the fleet or to the swimmer that you are close to your support boat at all times. In 2019 and 20, a number of tandem soloists were disqualified after it was found that they had not swum together and were up to 1 kilometre away from their support boat.
One of the most important race-related rules, particularly for solos, pertains to non-assistance. Swimmers cannot touch or use anything that aids flotation. For solos, this means that when receiving food or fluids, you need to find ways not to touch your boat or paddler.
As we've practiced before the race, my paddler hands me my fluids. I use a little plastic bottle with my nutrition. I drink it really quickly and I throw it back to him, and he keeps all the rubbish on the boat with him. The other thing he has is a very clear schedule of when we're going to stop and have drink breaks and nutrition breaks.
Changeovers for duos and teams need to be done at least 10 metres from the support boat, and swimmers must make contact above the water.
One of the biggest dangers to swimmers on event day is their own boat. It's imperative that engines are turned off or in neutral when conducting a swimmer changeover. The result of someone not following this rule could be life-threatening.
So during swimmer changeover, the biggest danger is the boat's propeller. So therefore, it's really important that you have good communication between swimmers and boat crew. Make sure that that communication is adhered to. In my case, the skipper will put the engines into neutral. The swimmer cannot approach or aboard the boat until this is done. Once the swimmer is on board, then the swimmer says to the rest of the crew, swimmer clear. I've never seen a good case of prop rash.
One of the most important rules of the event is support boats must not make way astern. This means they must not move backwards or reverse under any circumstances. If a skipper needs to stop or slow the vessel's forward way, they are permitted to use reverse thrust. However, the vessel must not make way astern or move backwards at all.
So as a skipper, sometimes you need to avoid swimmers and other boats, particularly in poor conditions. If I need to slow the vessel, I can always put it in reverse, as long as I don't go backwards.
Drafting is not in the spirit of the event and is against race rules. Drafting is when a swimmer is following directly behind a paddlecraft, support boat or another swimmer. Skippers are not permitted to consume or be affected by alcohol during the event. Race officials, compliance and medical personnel are empowered to disqualify any entrant whose skipper breaches this rule. Follow all the rules and you'll be fine. We want everyone to be safe and to finish, so familiarise yourself with the event rules in the yearbook or online. The race official vessels will be clearly visible and race officials will be wearing orange shirts. It's important for your own safety that you follow their instructions at all times. Race officials enforce race day rules and can ask a swimmer to leave the water if they breach these rules or miss a cut-off. In addition to race officials, medical and safety personnel are authorised to enforce event rules. This includes medical personnel advising a swimmer to pull out. A team or duo can proceed with the remaining swimmers or swimmer, as the whole team is not required to cross the finish line. However, a solo directed to stop swimming has unfortunately finished their attempt. If the advice is ignored, the swimmer, team or duo will be disqualified. Medical staff will not make this call lightly, so please listen to their direction, as it's for the welfare of the swimmer. With all the details on how you're going to finish the swim, here's Lockie Reid.
As you get closer to Rottnest Island, the fleet will start funnelling and it can become congested. All swimmers and paddlers must enter Thompson Bay through the 18-kilometre Phillip Rock Gate. Yachts as well as powerboats that are 10 metres or greater must leave their swimmer and paddler and proceed to their pre-arranged post-race location. Either a tender or paddler must accompany the swimmer for the next 1 kilometre. Powerboats that are less than 10 metres may also leave this point. However, the same conditions will apply. Swimmers must be accompanied by either a tender or paddler.
Once you arrive at Rottnest, switching from the north to the south side of the rum line is very dangerous for swimmers still in the water. So remember, if your post-race destination is on the south side, you want to be on the south side prior to the 18-kilometre mark, and vice versa if your post-race destination is on the north side.
Coming up to about the 15k mark, we generally make a decision on which side we're going to exit the boat. It can be a bit stressful coming up to it. There's a lot of boats and it's all funneling in towards the end, so be prepared, don't stress out, be relaxed, make sure you guys get off and they know which side you're heading off at, so you can catch up later on, and don't shoot across the path in front of other swimmers.
At the 19-kilometre no boats mark, all support boats must peel off and leave their swimmer or swimmers to finish the race. When support boats leave the race, either peel off to the north or south and stay there. Don't cross back over the swim channel. Similarly, be aware of navigational hazards such as Inner Kingston Reef. Paddlers will accompany their swimmers for a further 250 metres and will depart to the south only at the 19.25 kilometre Rottnest Express buoys. Swimmers will then complete the final 400 metres accompanied by surf lifesavers. This final 400 metres is guided by a buoy line down either side. Now, swimmers should use the finishing arch on the shore as their sighting point and guide. Before event day, you should also consider your post-event meet plan to reunite with your team on Rottnest. Please consider that paddlers can only leave to the south of the channel when creating your post-event meet plan. There is a designated area for paddle craft located outside the pub. There is no time limit on this area, however, paddle crafts must be removed by 5 p.m. The Rottnest Island Authority has allocated competitor boat only area just north of the fuel jetty. This will work on the first in, first served basis. You must have a South32 Rottnest Channel Swim boat sticker and a suitably sized boat to be able to anchor here. This area should be able to hold about 50 boats. Please do not anchor outside the marked area as it blocks emergency service vessel access.
Yeah, so post-event, essential to have a plan in place and have that discussion before everybody heads up on the island. Generally, what we do is have that discussion. We head up to the north side. It's a little bit less congested. We have someone on the beach that communicates with the guys and gets back to us, and then we make a plan from there. But generally, have that discussion before the end of the race.
Loading zones are available for pickup and drop-off only. This includes the T jetty on the main jetty and Hotel jetty and Army jetty. Thompson Bay will be very congested on event day, and a short trip to Geordie or Longreach can provide you and your team with ample space to moor and relax. With regard to mooring use, you will need to have either a licensee red sticker or authorised user yellow sticker issued by the RIA. You can only moor your boat to the moorings with a disc the same colour as the top left-hand corner of your sticker. The aqua blue coloured Rottnest annual admission sticker does not authorise you to use a mooring. Green moorings are hire moorings and can be booked via the Rottnest Island website. Further to this, please do not raft up boats on moorings or tie multiple boats alongside each other. The Rottnest Island Authority Rangers will be patrolling to ensure safety and compliance with fines applicable for incorrect mooring use. Other important information you need to be aware of is that there is no beach anchoring between the fuel and hotel jetties between 6 p.m. on Friday and 6 p.m. on Saturday. Tenders are only permitted in demarcated areas. There will be no fuel available from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on the day. Unleaded and diesel fuel will be available after 5 p.m. All boats displaying the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim race number sticker will have their fees waived by the Rottnest Island Authority in an acknowledgement of the incredible role support crews play in getting swimmers safely to Rottnest. Accommodation for event day is fully booked, and it is against the Rottnest Island Authority regulations to remain on the island without designated accommodation. It's important not to forget general housekeeping. Be safe, be friendly and courteous, plan ahead, respect and look after the beautiful Rottnest Island.
Thanks again, Locke. Swimmers will arrive at the beach south of the fuel jetty and make their way up and over the ramp. Once you are in the finish line enclosure, volunteers will remove your timing strap. Don't do this yourself. The volunteers are there to help. You'll be given a water bottle and your finisher's medal before making your way through to the South32 swimmer recovery area. If you aren't feeling well after the swim, please visit the medical tent located directly opposite the finish line. You then have the choice of exiting immediately, spending a bit of time in the South32 swimmer recovery area, or you can get your photo taken. Prize packs for solos and category prize winners are to be collected from the help desk and prize collection tent next to Dome. Duo and team prize winners will be sent text messages, and category prizes can be collected between 2 p.m. and 5 p.m. At 5 o'clock, all solos need to return to the finish line for the annual soloist photo. Being in this photo is a well-earned badge of honour, so don't miss out. Then it's time to unwind.
So you just hit the 19k mark and your boat peels off, the whole team jumps in and swims to the finishing line. You hit the shores of Rottnest. It's a great feeling. You're there with your team, you've achieved something together. You can turn around and you can look back and see Perth in the distance and realise that you have just conquered the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim. That afternoon is an awesome opportunity to meet up with friends, families and celebrate everything that this event is.
When you're getting close to the finish, when you get to Phillip Rock, remember you've still got 2Ks to go, but it starts getting really exciting. The boats start peeling away, you swim a little bit further, your paddler peels away. We always have a big smile and a wave, and then you come into the chute, all the swimmers start converging, so there's lots and lots of other swimmers. The water starts getting shallow. If you're lucky enough, you're going to see a stingray swim underneath you. Your arms are tired, but you're so nearly there, and it's so exciting. You push your way all the way to the end, and when you get to stand up, legs are a little bit wobbly, but then you start, walking your way, running if you can up that chute, and it's just such a fantastic feeling having swum all the way from Cottesloe to Rottnest. You've done it with the help of your team and all that support, and it's just amazing.
Well, that almost wraps up this special edition of 10 News First, but here's Josh Holt with the weather.
Thanks, Narelda. For Saturday, the 20th of February, the weather could look like this, it may look like this, or it could even be hot and sunny. Ultimately, you can't be worried about the weather and you should just be prepared for any forecast. Regular weather forecasts will be provided on the event website, and you can check back in with 10 News First a couple of days before the event, when we should be able to give you a better idea of what to expect. Weather prediction has improved over the years, and these days it is extremely accurate. However, things can change, and the committee will make their decision on the morning of the event if conditions are fine for the swim. If the weather is deemed unsuitable or conditions are likely to deteriorate, the event may be cancelled. Now, this has only happened once in the past 30 events. Should the event be cancelled, please do not disregard the decision. The only reason the event would be cancelled is because it is unsafe to proceed. A text message will be sent between 4 a.m. and 5 a.m. to advise whether the event will proceed or not. This will be sent to the skipper and the team captain. The message will also be broadcast on race channel VHF 74. Please note there will be no refund if the event is cancelled, but entrants will be offered a guaranteed entry into the 2021 event. That's all on the weather front.
Thanks, Josh. Well, there's a lot to think about when participating in the South32 Rottnest Channel Swim. As a skipper, swimmer or paddler, please take some time to read through the yearbook, as it has everything you need to know to help you prepare for this incredible event and get to Wadjum safely. So from all of us here at 10 Perth, we wish you a safe crossing. See you on the other side.